Today on Rock the Park,
This is crazy.
it's all about the ice. We're slipping and sliding down a giant hole into a glacier with raging water beneath.
Oh, man.
We're exploring an ice cave. Look at how blue that is. And plunging into ice water. Maybe.
Are you serious?
I am tempted.
You are out of your mind.
It's an icy 3 days on an Alaskan glacier.
All right. Woo! Yeah.
And it all starts right now.
Amazing.
I'm Jack Stewart.
And I'm Colton Smith. We've been buddies for years, and we love exploring the national parks.
It's all about packing up a car and just doing it, just hitting the road.
Our goal is to visit every national park in this country.
And when you go off the beaten path like we do,
There's no telling what will happen next.
get set to rock the park. We're in a glacier deep within the wilderness of Alaska.
These large masses of moving ice shape the landscape and provide fresh water for the surrounding ecosystems.
And man, is there a lot of ice. This park has over 150 glaciers, making up more than 60% of the glacial ice in Alaska.
It's about to get real. Real cold, that is. We're in Wrangell-St. Elias National Park.
The park is located in southeastern Alaska, about a 5-hour drive east of Anchorage. It's the largest national park in the U.S. and almost entirely wilderness.
There are only 2 roads into the park, and this is one of them. A 60-mile drive on the unpaved McCarthy Road gets you to the Kennecott River. From here, it's all on foot.
This park is larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Switzerland combined. And you know us, we always try to cover as much ground as we possibly can. But for a place this size, we're gonna stick to one thing, the glaciers.
Sarah Ebright and Max Pierce of St. Elias Alpine Guides will get us equipped and then take us up to the Root Glacier, which has been on this mountain for 2 to 3 million years.
We've got crampons for you today, some boots for ice climbing, helmets to protect your head, and then some harnesses, because those are kind of important.
We've been on glaciers, but it's always just like trekking across them to get somewhere else. I'm pumped that we're literally gonna be spending 3 straight days out on a glacier.
It's a 2-mile hike to the edge of the glacier. Glaciers are created by years of snow, turning into huge blocks of ice that eventually become heavy enough to start sliding downhill at a very slow pace, anywhere from a few centimeters to a yard a day.
So here we are looking out over the Root Glacier. Wow. Yeah, it goes up about 7 miles and then does a big stair step about 1 mile high.
And how thick is it?
This glacier here is 300 to 500 feet thick. And although it looks really big, it's actually pretty small compared to some of the other glaciers in Alaska.
As we head out, we're reminded that no matter where you are in Alaska, you're never far from bears. They usually try to avoid people, but since a grizzly can stand 9 feet tall, weighing an average of 600 pounds, we're keeping our eyes peeled. We'll hike out roughly 2 miles onto the glacier to check out some of its different features.
This is where we're gonna wanna put on our crampons.
All right.
Okay.
Crampons are lightweight steel alloy spikes you strap to your feet for gripping the ice. There's no fresh snow covering the glacier, so we don't have to worry about falling through hidden holes or crevasses. There are plenty of hills, valleys, and canyons, though, created by the melting and refreezing of the ice.
This is like the landscape like I dreamed of as a kid when you think of like the North Pole and stuff. Like just these perfect rolling hills of ice and snow.
Glaciers hold most of the fresh water on Earth, and in summer, the runoff becomes a regional water source. The same melting water forms lakes and rivers on the glacier's surface.
I have to imagine this right here is as good of drinking water as you can possibly get.
You wanna give it a try?
I would love
Yes.
to.
Okay.
An experienced guide like Sarah knows the best way to get a drink from an inch-deep stream. Licorice sticks.
So bite the ends off,
Okay.
and the inside will be hollow. You want one, Max? And the trickiest part is getting down close enough to the water to get a drink.
That is good.
Yeah.
That takes
Like
the
it?
term ice water to a whole nother level.
Can we eat them now?
Yeah.
Some of the water flowing across these glaciers works its way down into the ice, creating a deep pool like this one.
You know, we've all heard of the polar plunge. Anybody do that here?
Yep.
We've both been in it.
What's it like?
Just above freezing.
There is not even the tiniest part of me that wants to do that. That's got to be so cold.
I'm actually really tempted.
Are you serious?
I am tempted.
You are out of your mind.
I'll
Not
do it
often,
if you do
but
it.
I can
Will
always.
you? I'll do it.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
You can't pass that up. Look at that.
Oh, watch me.
This is probably 32.5 degrees, as close to freezing as water can get. You definitely want to be in good health to do this, and as exhilarating as it makes you feel, you don't want to stay in for very long.
Alaska!
Woo! Oh. Oh. Get out! Get out of there!
She's used to it.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Your turn.
Here we go. Alaska, baby. It's so cold. Ah! Oh, it's cold. Whew. I'm refreshed.
Colton?
Yeah, you in? Not a chance. That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
Oh, props to you.
I have to say, though,
My gosh.
I'm starting to warm up already. You never want to do this without checking with your doctor first. Once I'm out, the air and even the wind are actually warmer than the water, so I'm feeling good. I would totally do it again. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday I'll do it again. Tomorrow, we'll take a different kind of plunge into the caverns underneath a glacier.
Not only are we in a cave of ice, but it's also moving.
It's day 2 in Wrangell-St. Elias National Park in Alaska, and we're setting out to do some caving inside a glacier. This is the Kennecott Glacier. At 25 miles long, it's more than 3 times the size of the one we were on yesterday.
Glaciers moving through a mountain range sometimes pick up layers of debris and carry it with them.
Looking at this glacier from afar, you can't really even tell that there's ice underneath all this rock. But there is.
It's kind of cool to have been walking on one of these clear, bright white glaciers yesterday, and now today to get to see one that has been collecting some of these rocks that it's been pushing down the mountain.
So down here, we're looking at the edge of the glacier, and I see a nice little tunnel going in there that I thought it would be fun to explore.
Right behind us, we've got the cave, right? And we've got that big brown hill coming out from the top. And what's on top of the hill are all those rocks. What can happen is the rocks are attracting a little more sunlight, they're starting to melt the ice around them, and they'll roll off pretty often. So what we want to do is strap some helmets on, and we're going to go inside the cave one at a time. So we'll all be outside, looking up at the top ridge line, watching for any moving rocks. One person will go in pretty quick. We'll keep going with that until the last person's in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You guys want to head in first?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I totally do.
All right.
All right,
So
can I
just,
go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
watch for any rocks coming down. It looks pretty good, and you can head on in.
All right. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Get in here.
Can I go?
Yeah.
You can go.
Wow. Look at this.
Whoa.
Look at how blue that is.
Oh, man. Whoa. Bright and vibrant, and there's not even that much light that's getting in here, but I guess when you're at the bottom of the glacier where the densest ice is,
Yeah. It's also kind of weird to think like we're underneath a glacier, right?
I'm trying not to think about that because there are thousands of tons of ice above our head.
Glacial ice is really dense with few air pockets, and dense ice absorbs every other color of the spectrum except blue. So blue is what we see.
And this ice that's down in these caves, it's the oldest ice.
Correct.
On the glacier. I mean, how old do you think this ice possibly is?
We're probably pushing 500 to 600 years down here.
Here we go. Deep into an ice cave. I can see this thing is getting smaller and smaller, so I definitely have to go deeper and check it out.
These glaciers and the ice caves that you can find underneath them are constantly changing. You've got waterfalls that are jetting through the sides on our right, and then on our left, there's streams that are coming underneath our feet. It's a very surreal landscape to be taking in for the first time.
It's amazing how you can be in an ice cave, which is totally different than a normal cave, and you can see similar little features. You've got this little squeeze between two rocks in the ice that takes you into another passageway within this glacier.
I'm really tempted to squeeze through and see what's on the other side, but honestly, this space is pretty small, and this is no ordinary cave.
The sounds that you hear down here are very interesting. You hear rushing water, and then even when a rock is falling overhead, you can kind of hear a
I think that might be our cue.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So we've been under a glacier and on top of one. Next stop, we're going inside a glacier.
Oh, I can't even see the bottom.
We're in Alaska, preparing for an experience we've never had before. We're practicing climbing up a wall of ice so we can safely go down into a frozen whirlpool.
We're gonna be going into what's called a moulin, which is basically a giant hole in the glacier that's been carved by water.
Having a practice run is a really, really good idea. It's gonna help us brush up on some of our technique and give us a much better chance of success when we go down into the moulin.
This is a test climb on a 25-foot wall of ice.
How's it going?
Fine and dandy like sour candy.
We've done this before, digging our crampons into the wall and using our ice axes to help hoist ourselves up.
All right.
Woo!
Yeah.
How's the view from up there?
Beautiful. It's a lot of ice.
Okay, you are on
Climbing.
belay. Climb on.
We each take a turn up the wall while Sarah belays us from below. That means if we slip, Sarah and the rope will keep us from falling.
One thing that's really nice about the ice we're climbing on is that it has a bunch of air pockets in it. It makes it so you can really dig your ice axes and crampons into it. With the thicker ice, you don't get as much bite. Where here, we're getting a nice solid chop at this ice, and it really feels good.
This practice may be a lifesaver considering our last attempt at ice climbing.
The one time that we went ice climbing didn't exactly turn out how I imagined.
We're hoping for a better outcome when we lower ourselves into the moulin. It's hundreds of feet deep with a swirling river at the bottom. Once we lower ourselves down, we'll have to climb the ice to get ourselves out. Falling would be a disaster.
Oh man, I can already see a little bit of a drop coming up.
Uh-huh. All the water's got to be running down to a low spot, and there's no way for it to escape.
That's your moulin.
Yep.
The opening to a moulin can be a super dangerous place. If you slip on the ice, there's nothing to stop you from sliding down into the hole and dropping to the bottom.
If you do fall in here, that's it, unfortunately.
That's why Max carefully guides us one at a time to the edge for a look into where we're going.
Oh, I can't even see the bottom.
Yeah, you won't until we drop you in.
Oh, it's deep. It's really
Bottomless
deep.
pit style, okay.
Oh, no. No. No.
It's at least 150 feet to the bottom.
Whoa! Wow. So we're actually going in this thing?
Yeah, that's the whole plan.
Oh man. All right, let's do it.
I don't think we'll be sending anyone down all the way to the bottom today. We will lower you down as far as you feel comfortable to be able to climb back out. So you two are gonna make the call on how far you wanna get lowered into the moulin.
I have to say, I'm a little nervous.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Plus, this isn't just like the wall where it's like you're on the ground and then you climb up and then you get lowered back down. So you're being lowered into what seems like a bottomless pit and saying, well, climb yourself out.
Nerves aside, I make the choice to go in first. Max will be belaying me from above, securing the rope if I should slip and fall. The kicker is, we won't be able to see each other most of the time.
This is crazy. We've been lowered from a few things, never into a glacier, like with a waterfall just raging right next to you.
All right, cool. Well, if you give me 1 second, I'll walk to the edge and then lower you down to me. Sound good?
good.
Awesome.
We're gonna be going down into a hole that if you fell into it, there's no coming back out. I'm on the rope and I start to go down. And all of a sudden I start to see just Max getting smaller and smaller, and then finally I'm over the lip. I can't see Max anymore, and I'm basically on my own down here.
That is not a sight you see every day.
Every step of the way going down, I keep thinking, how much strength will it take to climb back up? And now I can see the bottom and the roaring torrent of water.
Stop!
So I don't think I want to go down any further.
Oh man.
And this ice is so hard. Getting back up might not be easy either. crazy. I can't even describe this. I'm hanging out over this deep, dark abyss in a glacier in Alaska.
Jack is dangling inside a moulin, a hole more than 100 feet deep carved in the ice by running water. If he should fall, the current would carry him under the glacier and he'd be gone. And from the top, I can't even see him.
Even from up here, you can just hear the water over 100 feet down there just going. It's like it's taking these big gulps of air.
It's really daunting to be hovering over this river that's flowing beneath you. And knowing that if you fall into this thing, you're never gonna be seen again is really kind of eating away at me.
I'm super nervous, but seeing a glacier from the inside is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm gonna go just a few more feet down!
Good.
Those few extra feet are absolutely worth it because suddenly I'm surrounded by blue ice.
It's so incredibly vibrant and amazing. But at the same time, I know that this ice is much more compressed than the ice that we practiced on.
That means it's harder to drive an axe into it, which could make it harder for me to climb out of this thing. Here goes nothing. This is what I was afraid of. Finally, the blade sinks in about ½ an inch, but most of my weight is on the crampons. It's so crazy to be relying on tools that are only going in maybe an inch to this ice, but they're supporting my weight somehow. My crampons are going in perfectly. I'm placing my ice axes and I'm moving up this thing really quickly.
Nice job, man. Welcome back, huh? You got a little wet.
I did. Man, I got down there and I thought, like, okay, you've gone down a little too far. And then I started climbing, I'm like, this isn't that bad.
No,
Like,
it's not.
all right,
It's time.
it's time. I'm gonna go get ready.
Finally, it's my turn to go into the moulin. As I start to back up, the edge is getting closer and closer, and I go over the lip, and I can finally see the bottom of this thing.
You got it, dude. Whoa.
At first, I can't seem to get a grip. Thank goodness for the rope.
Colton's getting out of his comfort zone. I have a feeling we're about to hear a bunch of holy cows, maybe some oh my goshes. So be prepared. We're gonna hear some yelling.
Oh my gosh. This is incredible. Never ceases to amaze me how far that kid's voice can carry. You can feel the drops of water coming down all around you.
That water becomes a lubricant that helps the glacier slide over the ground.
81% of the world is covered in water and ice. And right here, my world is completely covered in water and ice. Wow, this is amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm taking Jack's advice, going down deeper into the blue ice.
Woo! I could probably sit right here and stare at this forever, but I should probably start climbing because it's gonna get cold real fast. Wow, look at this ice.
I'm running into the same problem as Jack with getting an axe into the ice.
Oh man. Woo! Pretty sweet, right? Oh my gosh, is that amazing? Yeah. Amazing! What a wonderful world. The moment you come over that lip and you see just the abyss and this perfectly carved cylinder of rushing water, I could have hung there forever. That was so beautiful.
The last 3 days have been epic, and we couldn't have done it without our guides.
One thing I will say is I laughed more on this trip than I think I ever have before. Between you jumping into that pond, which I still don't quite understand, the ice caves, and then going into that moulin, everything was just awesome.
Going ice climbing here is something that I'm not gonna forget, like, ever. And it was awesome to see you, Max, up there, like, hovering over the hole, like, lowering me down, and I'm just like, where am I? I couldn't even, like, speak. It was so overwhelming.
Those were 3 days full of adventures that we had never really gotten to experience before.
It's amazing. Like you said, this place is so big, you never run out of places to explore. There's just endless opportunity to play here.
Thank you so much. This was such a blast.
Yeah, all right, let's get a good clean high five in here. Here you go, yeah.
There it is.
Hey, if we can do it, so can you.
So the next chance you get, go out and rock the park.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.